Tech fans, welcome to Up with the White and Gold. I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York. John is on dad duty at a um, high school playoff game. Go Trojans. So you get to listen to me for the next handful of minutes. Lots of good stuff to talk about. This is Impact Media's weekly show all about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets football squad. And my goodness, what a week of things to talk about. Of course, if you want to help the show, go to our YouTube page, go to impact_media_, and make sure to subscribe and sign up where I think there's a little bell that you hit, and it will tell you all the times that the shows drop so that you know when to download them and when to go look at them. And also, it helps the show. Leave us a question, comment, suggestion, rating, review. Love chatting it up with you guys on and off all of our social medias. If you want to follow me on the social medias, it is the Impact 99 on practically any of them. And I look forward to chatting with you guys more. I've run into you guys a lot of places. John has as well. And we love talking Tech football, among other things. So this place behind me here was rocking on Saturday afternoon. Yeah, I've seen pictures of people that were there. And why was it rocking? Well, you guys stormed the field, and you guys stormed the field not out of protest. You stormed the field because Georgia Tech got win number 6 on the year. They are bowl eligible, and they did it by knocking off the number 4 ranked Miami Hurricanes. Let me say that again for the people in the back. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets beat the Miami Hurricanes, the number 4 ranked Miami Hurricanes, 28-23 over the weekend. And this wasn't a fluke win. This was not a fluke win. This was a keep playing hard and keep playing Georgia Tech football and listen to Coach T. And this thing's gonna slide. It's gonna slide in your favor. It does. They absolutely earned this win. Let's talk a little bit about Miami. Miami didn't have a bad game. They did not. Cam Ward. 25 for 39, 348, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Pretty good quarterback. Their leading rusher only had 81, Damian Martinez. That was a win. This was a win in the trenches. This is where this matchup was won. We're going to get in that in a second. They had 3 different receivers with over 78 yards. Restrepo, Arroyo, and Jacoby George all over 78. And Arroyo, Restrepo, and Horton all with the touchdown grab. They still played a good, solid game. It's not like I said, Miami didn't play a bad game. It's got outplayed by Georgia Tech. I look at all these tackles that Miami made, but a big goose egg under sack. That's the one place that this matchup was won. Like I said, the trenches. Georgia Tech, their offensive line, one of the best offensive lines in football. We have said that in the last handful of weeks. Not just the ACC, not just in the state of Georgia. They've got one of the best in the nation. They gave up 0 sacks to a Miami squad that could easily put 4 or 5 or 6 on the board per game. That's how good the Georgia Tech offensive line was. We'll get into them. Let's get into them right now. Because Georgia Tech did a weird system. They played 3 different quarterbacks. And the reason, well, they played 2 different quarterbacks. Haynes King got dinged up a little bit. They only threw 16 total passes, by the way. Haynes King 6 for 6. Aaron Philo 5 for 10. He's the backup. He's going to be the backup. I believe he might have even started the game. I don't think he started the game. No, Haynes King started. But Haynes got a little dinged up. So then we're like, oh no, what are they gonna do? I mean, they played all 3 quarterbacks, I believe. I could have swore I saw the other quarterback in there. He just never threw a pass. So he got a little dinged up. Haynes King, who every time he could come back in the game, did. And 20 carries for 93 yards and a big-time touchdown at the end of the game. Jamal Haynes opened it up with a big time touchdown, just ran past everybody, just right through. Um, 271 total yards on the ground against the Miami Hurricane. 271. How many other people are running for 271 against the Miami Hurricane? Not many. Not many at all. Receive it just we threw 16 passes, so nobody was going to get. We were just using that every time they started keying in on the run game. We started throwing these little smaller passes. We threw some bigger ones. Had a 27-yard pass to Bailey Stockton, the only catch he had. Chase Lane caught one for 15. 11, 16. Those some bigger passes, but you didn't need them. You just had those timely passes just to take enough pressure off the run game so that it made their defense scatter around and yours started doing better. Just incredible. And speaking of sacks, how about 3 sacks from the Miami Hurricane? You got 3 on them. Let's see. You've got 1 from Romello Height, 1 from Kyle Efford. Who was another one who played so hard that he had to keep coming out because he was getting dinged up a little bit here and there, but he put in just tremendous effort. And then Tremelius Tatum, and I could be wrong, but I believe this is former Georgia State Panther who I covered while at Georgia State, Thomas Gore. That absolutely is Thomas Gore. Shout out Thomas Gore, the Nashville, Tennessee native, former Georgia State Panther, doing massive things for Georgia Tech. Love that guy. Uh, how about Aaron Burr hitting all 4 of his point after attempts? Didn't need him to attempt a big one. All we needed him to do was hit the ones he's supposed to hit. And Shanahan, another 44-yard average, had to punt 5 times. He pinned them deep 3 out of the 5, and one of them was a beauty that went right inside the 20. I mean, anything that you wanted this team to do, they did. This team just showed up and showed out when they absolutely needed to. Absolutely needed to. Just incredible effort. I love that you stormed the field, by the way. I love if we weren't at a birthday party, which is where me and John were watching the game. If we weren't at a birthday party, we would have probably tried to be at this game. Not because we thought, this would be win number 6 or that they're going to beat Miami. No, it's like a fun game to go to. But instead, it just wow, just absolutely incredible the way this worked out. And like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of. I did look at John at one point, and I said the number 31, and this is when they had 21 points. And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I think you're going to need 31 points to beat the Miami Hurricane. The way they can move the ball, the way they're able to go up and down the field a little bit. This may have been in the third when it was no, is it start of the fourth? Start of the fourth, and it was Miami 16 and 21 for Georgia Tech. And I said, they're going to score more than 16. I don't know how many more they're going to score, but you're going to need 31. And he said, you might be right. And then Miami scored. Did Miami score first? No. Haynes King scored to put them up 28-16. And just a handful of minutes later, here comes a big pass from Cam Ward to Xavier Restrepo for 38 yards and the kick. And that made it 28-23. And I said, I still feel good. A lot of people would say at this point, well, they're just going to score the touchdown. They're just going to beat us. And then they didn't. And then they didn't because Cam Ward had that massive fumble right there at the end of the game that iced it. I think it was going to get iced right after that anyway. Just, I mean, what can you say? What can you say? Everybody showed up. Everybody showed out. The one turnover iced the game. It didn't cause them to lose. They were already close to losing anyway. And how about 47,358 of you all showed up and packed out? All this here. All this here. Miami, a 9.5 point favorite. Yep, that didn't work, did it? I told you 64.5 go under. There were 51 points scored. They weren't scoring 64.5. That was a crazy number. But that's win number 6. You beat number 4 Miami, who dropped to number 9. You dropped them to number 9, and they are no longer in the driver's seat to the ACC title game. Tech, no, Tech's not gonna make that one. Probably gonna be SMU and Clemson. What an interesting game that could be. Although Louisville's hanging out, Louisville, Miami, either one of them. But just incredible. And the good thing is at the birthday party we were at, the majority of the people there were interested in the game, either because they were Tech fans or they wanted to see Miami lose, or they just were entertained by the fact that Tech was doing really good. And so, fun room to be at. Happy birthday, Scott. Believe good times were had all around. So we move to this week. And what great opponent does Georgia Tech have this week? I'll tell you. You know who they have? They have a bye week. They have a bye week. They come off one of the biggest wins they've had in a while, biggest win of the year by far, with 2 games left to go, and they get a bye week, and then they will play back-to-back games, and they will play NC State next Thursday night in 6 days from now? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, 6 days from now. 7:30 on ESPN. It's gonna be fun. And then the finale, where Georgia Tech is going to go up to Athens, face Georgia, with a chance to potentially keep them out of the 12-team playoff. I've been saying a majority of the year to Tech fans and Georgia fans that game at the end of the year is going to be for something. I thought maybe Tech's going to be borderline into a bowl. It's going to be how good a bowl can they go to. If they win 7 or 8 games, that's going to definitely step them up a couple levels. But even at 6, they're still looking pretty good. That game at the end of the year is going to mean so much. But they are, of course, on the bye week, as I said. This is just where you get people like Haynes King healthy, because you're going to need him for NC State. You're going to really need him for Georgia. But you are definitely going to want him for NC State. That is at home. That's another home game. So how about that? You're at home this week, or last week for the game. You're home again because it's a bye week. You're home again next week to play NC State. And then you basically get to stay home again and then just travel up to the game, I guess, Friday night, maybe Thursday or Friday night. And you're going to play against those people in Athens. That's one of the more favorable schedules that I've seen in a while. And I very much think, like I said, that they have every bit the chance to be spoiler and to really up themselves into a bigger bowl game. It's not just ACC. It depends on in the playoff, because that's what I told people. I was like, all right, let's say that there are 6 bowls that the SEC can get into, or that they're associated with, right? Let's say there's 6, and let's say 5. 5. So there are 5 bowls. Let's say 5 bowl games that the SEC is associated with, where they will play the Big Ten, or they'll play an ACC, or they'll play whoever they're paired up with. So most of the time that would be the top SEC teams, top five, would get those bowl bids. Except for now that there's a playoff. What if, here's some quick math here. What if there are 8 teams that win at least 6 games out of the SEC? 8, right? So go up to 8. And let's say that 2 of those, we're going to take those 2 away. 2 of those make the top 12. Well, no, let's do it that way. 3 of them. Let's say 3 make the top 12, right? Still, my math's not really checking out right. Let's try this. 4. 4. 4. Let's go all 4. 4 of the 8 make the top 12, so they're not going to those other bowls. Well, I told you that there's an SEC bowl over here. That those other 4, they go to those other bowls. You still get that one that needs a representative. Well, you get looking around, and at that point, the NCAA kind of gets with the people that do the bowl, and they say, well, we're going to actually open it up a little bit. Of these teams, or of this section, or maybe of the ACC, because let's say 2 from the ACC. Let's see. Anyway, what I'm getting at is the better that Georgia Tech, let's make it simple here. The better that Georgia Tech does, there's a chance that they could not only be in a good to great ACC bowl, they could also slide into somebody else's open spot, because those teams are in the 12-team playoff. So actually, they could end up in a better bowl game than Georgia. They could end up in a better bowl game than some of the other teams that may be on the outside looking in, because they're going to be a really strong Tech team, and they're getting some national eyeballs and some national audiences. So, you want to win as many as you can. You need to beat NC State. Beating Georgia would really, really put you in a great position to maybe play right around New Year's. What a great time to play. Those are usually the big eyeball games that would definitely help recruiting, definitely help your team. Get some big sponsors, some big money in there. You get to, do so many more things. Maybe you give out free varsity dogs. Maybe you just do something fun because you did so well. And to see everybody buy in to Brent Key and his system like this, to Coach Key and to Chris Winkie and all the coaches and the AD, and to see everybody buying in like this is outstanding. It's outstanding. It's what the Georgia State and the Kennesaws are trying to do with the Georgia Southern. They're doing better with it right now. But just what those programs are trying to do is to get the fans and the team and the coaches and the administration, everybody all on the same page, all going in the same direction. Georgia Tech is about 80% there. Can you imagine the things they could do next year? They still got to play 2 more games this year. But can you just imagine the things that they can do next year? Just incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible stuff. It's so good to see them back to their winning ways and back in a great position like they are like they're in right now. And I think they're maybe just a little far outside, at 6-4, but I don't think at 8-4, even with a win over Georgia, I don't quite think that they're going to get into the top 12. But 7-5, 8-4, it's a real possibility. What's also a real possibility is that we're at the end of the show. Shout out to all you amazing people who make this show so much fun to do. Good chance John's back next week. We'll have to check. Depends on how that high school does. We're going to try to get him back on the show. Never know. Always tune in because you never know what kind of guests we can have on any of our show. We are lining up some for some of the other shows now. But until then, this has been Up with the White and Gold. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. We will see you guys next week. Deuces, gooses. Go Jackets.